Welcome to Queernecks, the podcast that puts the yeehaw in y'all means all. I'm your host, Beck.
And I am your host, Dash. Welcome to today's episode.
We're twins again, wearing a rusty red.
I know. Twinning.
It's like we have a psychic connection, man. How's your weekend going?
It's not bad. I mean, we just started.
Well, Friday's the weekend, too.
So the the final upload was due yesterday for the dissertation document to the ProQuest and Ohio Link and all that. And I turned it in early. And a symptom of my mental illness is that I am like a hot deadline. Like I'm submitting it at 3:59 if it's due at 4.
Yeah.
Never loved that about myself. Has not treated me well. But so I turned it in 24 hours early.
That's freaking awesome.
Isn't it?
That's amazing.
Is that PETA?
Yes.
Hi, PETA.
She just wandered up.
God, Ziggy's probably about to jump up here. The cats are like really happy about me being confined to this recliner. They're unabashedly enjoying this whole experience.
Well, you would too if you were a cat.
Honestly, it looks they're probably like, finally, why do you never sit down? Got to get on our level with this sleeping all day stuff.
I slept in a little bit this morning, but then I listened to my audiobook for an hour before I got out of bed. That felt very luxurious.
What are you listening to?
I'm for that book club that I'm going to next week, the Queer Book Club. We're reading The Invisible Life of Addie, LaRue.
I haven't read that one.
It's okay. It's all right. It's a little long. It could have been half the book and had the same story, I think. But yeah, it's hello, kitten.
You want to sit down?
No.
Okay. We're playing around with some of my medications.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah, isn't it? And apparently, this new one I'm on can have a side effect of you get songs stuck in your head. I think it's probably more than songs. It can be other things, but I'm experiencing it as songs. And it's wild shit. It's not shit I listen to. It's songs like I'm making a list because it's so weird.
Like Changa's jukebox every year.
So the first one was Goodbye Earl by the Chicks, which I love. It's a perfect song, honestly. They can do no wrong, in my opinion. But I haven't listened to that song probably in decades. Noticed I was like going up the stairs and I was just in the breakdown too part, like there where they really feel it, like Mary. And now I can't remember the lyrics because I don't actually listen to this song.
Goodbye, Earl.
Well, there's the bridge, right? There's the breakdown where they're like, right away, Mary Ann. And that's what was in my head. It was like just that pre-chorus. Another one was Goodbye, Eileen.
I don't know that one.
Oh, sorry. Come on, Eileen. I was mixing them up. By Dexy's Midnight something or other. Not a song I'm very familiar with, but it was just on a loop in my head for days. And then I got up to really silly shit. So, you know the Pizza the Hut song? Did you sing this in school?
Maybe. I don't know. What is it?
So it's I'm gonna cut this shit out. Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Pizza Hut.
I know that song in a different tune. Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut.
Okay.
Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut.
McDonald's,
Kentucky Fried Chicken and Pizza Hut.
But there's a whole other 2 verses that we sang, which was Jabba the Hutt, Luke Skywalker and Jabba the Hutt. And then Darth Vader. But then, okay, this is where we get really creative. This is where the real like lyricism comes in. Pizza the Hut, Luke Sky Chicken and a Pizza the Hut.
Well, Pizza the Hut is from Spaceballs.
Maybe that's where they got it. I don't know.
Yeah.
McVader. It's bad enough that I still remember that, from school, but I'm walking around as a 44-year-old man singing this song under my breath.
I got one that's been in my head that I don't know if you know it, but it's chicken wing, hot dog and
And
bologna,
bologna.
chillin' with macaroni, chillin' with my homies.
Yeah, my niece sings that song. That's the only reason I know it. It wasn't that long ago she was singing it at a holiday or something.
Yeah, it's a TikTok song.
Our buddy, Techno Pop Tart on the YouTubes has one question I don't understand, but you may. It's about it's about Mountain Dew. That sounds really shady. You're the Mountain Dew.
Okay. A title I earned, I guess.
I just don't know what this question means. The rainbow collection of Mountain Dew. Do you know about this?
That it's probably because like there's Baja Blast Mountain Dew, there's Orange Mountain Dew. It's probably because there's Red Mountain Dew. There's probably, you know what I mean, the
Yeah.
whole rainbow.
Okay. Well, so the question is, how many colors are they flavored differently?
Yeah.
Okay. How many have we tried is the question.
I don't drink pop anymore, so I've only tried regular Mountain Dew. I'm a diabetic, so I drink a lot of water.
I knew about a red one that I think I have tried.
I think it's called Code Red.
Yeah. And that may, because that one's from a long time ago. I don't know if I've tried it or I know that I've seen it. And it was also a lot of pop culture references at the time. Like it was a lot of like gamers drank it, I think. And then, so the other question is, did we ever go dump or bottle digging? So dump digging.
Not that I can. I have a friend that does that for fun because she's into old timey artifacts and glassware and
Oh,
railroad stuff. But no, I've never done. I don't like getting dirty.
I remember from like the late 80s, early 90s, you could make decent money. And this may still be a thing because I see people doing it still, collecting pop cans or collecting the tabs. And you could return glass bottles for a nickel, I think.
That's state dependent.
Probably, yeah. So I
Yeah.
do remember that. We didn't do it like, that wasn't something our family really, we weren't like going out to the dump and digging, but we did collect I think it was Pepsi that had the tab thing. And when we were growing up, we did drink, like, besides water, and Vanessa was obsessed with milk. We had to buy 3 gallons of milk a time. That's an estimation because obviously I don't remember clearly, but it was well more than 1 gallon of milk every time we went grocery shopping because she just loved the stuff.
Wow.
But Mom drank a lot of Pepsi and Mountain Dew. So we did do the collecting, but honestly, as an adult, I did a lot of dumpster diving. Just was homeless a few times, but I wouldn't call that part of the Appalachian experience for me.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I've never gone dumpster diving before. That's one thing. That's an experience. But I can't climb very well either. So it's like everything's stacked against me.
I don't even remember recycling being available where I lived.
Yeah, me neither.
That felt like a big city thing to me. I knew about it, but it wasn't a thing where we lived.
We didn't even have garbage cans. We had a dumpster. And before the dumpster, we burned garbage.
We carried it off to the dump.
We had a dumpster down at the bottom of the driveway. I have picked up things off the side of the road before. Like the coffee table that we had for like 5 years, we got off the side of the road. That's kind of garbage picking.
What would you say is the most interesting random find you've ever had? Like something you just totally weren't expecting, but you loved it when you saw it?
Probably the first thing that comes to my mind is the belt buckle that my dad had at the house, with the gun that comes out, the pop gun that comes out and snaps.
Yeah.
That's just the cutest little thing I've ever seen. I didn't know I needed a pop gun belt for little boys from 1957 or whatever. I had no idea I needed that, but I did.
Yeah, mine was probably of some kind of media. So, Curse of the Queer Wolf is up there for like finding that VHS at a Goodwill for a quarter. But there were several others that I really loved. I got a VHS called Dancing Grannies. It's a calisthenics aerobic workout video of it's like a dozen women. And at the beginning of the video, they all sit down and tell us how many grandkids they have. And then they do this workout, and it's pretty fun.
A friend of mine found a box of cassette tapes one time, and she just let whoever take whatever. And I took the News of the World, the Queen tape, and fell in love with Queen.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite Queen album that there is to this day.
I had a little Walkman, and it was like an off-brand, and I had a bunch of tapes I would put in and walk around the mountainside with listening to it. And I think my 2 favorites were definitely Bon Jovi. I forget the name of the album. I didn't really know album names. A lot of times I didn't have the cover of the tape, so it was a lot of them were just mysteries what was on them. And then Aerosmith, oh, shoot, I don't remember the name of that album either. Get a Grip, I think was it. And I would be feeling it, walking around the streams and mountains or the rocks and stuff on the mountain, jamming to my Bon Jovi. And it was all stuff that had been out for years that I was listening to. And so when they put out, I think I was in the 8th grade. No, 7th grade because I was still at Jellicoe. When Bon Jovi came out with a new song, it was like what's it called when it's a slow song?
A ballad?
Yeah, yeah. Something about "I love you always," and I hated it. I was like, "They sold out. This isn't rock."
That's funny.
I was like 12. This isn't hardcore. Did your parents listen to music?
Country music, 100%. And like some Eagles thrown in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, my dad was a country singer.
Cool.
He had his own band. Mark Jenkins did the Small Town Band was the name of his band. They had a CD and everything. They went and recorded a song. My dad wrote some songs for my mom.
Awesome.
I'm probably the only person left on the planet that remembers those songs, but
I'm gonna look it up right now. Mark Jenkins and what?
The Small Town Band. I guarantee you it's not out there. The guy that was the producer had been a producer for Reba McEntire.
Oh, unfortunately, there's another Mark Jenkins.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Well, yeah.
There were 3 in my town alone.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's a very common name. So is my name.
Yeah.
So that's one of the perks of having a common name is I'm anonymous on the internet for the most part. You put my name in and nothing comes up.
There's a hockey player with my name, but there's also when I went to EKU, there's a corner. You know how they'll have dedication plaques and stuff. There's a corner there that has a collection in it, and it says such and such is Memorial Corner or something, and it was my name, and my name is not super common. It's spelled a little different, so I just always kind of thought like, huh, interesting, and we would joke about it or whatever, and thought, well, that'll never happen again. And in a way it hasn't, but I did in my territory when I was a recruiter, I had this county that guy was from. And as soon as I showed up at the first school I went to, everyone was being kind of weird. Not bad, but just kind of like, hey, so you're and I was like, yeah. And the first guy, when he introduced me to the kids, he was like, you won't believe what his name is. And I was like, what is going on? And so as I was, over the year I had that territory, I learned more and more about this guy, and he was like a big deal. And he did a lot for the region. He was like a big like donor to like economic projects. And he, there's quite a few buildings and even a school that only exists because of him. That kind of came full circle there. So if you try to find me, you'll find him. Music was like the medium we had, like radio, and TV wasn't yet a very big deal when I was born. I don't know if cable existed yet. It may.
Oh, we had Cinemax and all that when I was like 2nd grade.
Okay, so that stuff did exist, but I just didn't know about it.
It was for the wealthy and the poor that wanted to be wealthy.
Yeah, people that made bad decisions.
Yes.
Those temporarily embarrassed millionaires. I remember most of my childhood, maybe even the entire time that I lived with them, going to bed to the sound of my mom putting in some CD and cranking it up. She would blast that shit and we'd be sleeping. And she loved like Pink Floyd. She played a lot of Phil Collins and like Genesis. She played, there was a bluegrass band she liked called The Seldom Scene that she played a lot of. I don't know, just constant, like, that was our soundtrack, and mom's not musically inclined, but she's an appreciator. Her taste was very specific. So and I think she doesn't think of herself as an influence on, like, our musicality because she, tone deaf is kind of a mean word, but, like, she can't identify pitches. She doesn't play anything, but she's an appreciator. And when it comes to art, the appreciator is invaluable.
Right. I got taken to a lot of country concerts when I was a kid because
cool.
I was instead of giving me a babysitter, they just took me with them. So I got to see Alabama, and I got to see Travis Tritt and Marty Stewart, and I got to see George Jones and Alan Jackson and Vince Gill maybe 7 times. I saw Vince Gill lots of times. He was my mom and sister's favorite. The Sawyer Brown Band, all kinds of stuff. And then with my friends, I got to see Janet Jackson and Tina Turner. That was really cool.
I went to my first like concert in high school, but when we were kids, we did go. Lexington has a bluegrass festival
Mhm.
that is a lot of fun. They get some really good acts, and we did go. I'm pretty sure all three of us, but I know for sure I got taken to it a few times.
The first concert I went to on my own was Bush, No Doubt, and Goo Dolls.
He told me that's awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Mine was Alanis Morissette and Tori Amos.
Did you get to go to Lilith Fair?
No.
I went twice.
Jealous. I wanted to go so bad. You know what I did do though? I bought the official Lilith Fair songbook with all the guitar arrangements, and I learned all the songs from the Lilith Fair album, every single one of
That's awesome.
There must have been a retrospective recently, or maybe they're doing another one. I don't know, but there's a lot of discourse now on like TikTok and social media about how everywhere they went, they booked local acts, and some of them were basically launched by Lilith Fair. And I swear to God, one of them was Erica Badu. I don't think Badu is how you say her name. That's my accent, y'all.
I'm a big fan of hers. Yeah.
I put some more shit on the wheel of what have you.
Woohoo!
So let's spin and see what we get. Playing it straight / normie. So, basically,
I was once married to a gay man.
Oh, who was your first beard though? Was that it? Did you like pretend with anybody else?
Yeah, well, I had nobody thought Jonas was straight, so that never worked. He was like my prom date and stuff like that. But Mike, my brother was so surprised when he asked me if we'd ever slept together, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
And he was like, with all that time you guys spent alone and stuff, and I was like, you just don't understand how gay works. Apparently, no, never, not once.
No, I don't. Yeah, they because straight men anyway. I don't know about how women feel. Like cis straight men, sex or just intimacy, like romantic intimacy, is a foregone conclusion. Like they assume it's at the end of every interaction with the opposite sex. So,
Yeah.
like on a long enough timeline, they've slept with every woman they know.
Yeah. Well, Mike and I got our first apartment together when I left school, and he did too. And then we got married when we lived in that first apartment, and then we were married for 3.5 years. So, and then I moved to Lexington with him for a while. We're still friends to this day.
Well, I mean, you would be because that's no matter what goes down, that's a bonding experience.
Yeah, and like his mom was my mother-in-law for a while, right? So like,
I mean, you participated in an American social institution in a queer way. Social institutions have a lot of tributaries that go off. It branches off into other things, like whether you see marriage as a sacrament in a religious sense or whatever. It is certainly a socio-political binding institution.
yeah. The first girl that I really dated, not seriously or anything, just the first girl that I went out with, but she was in a similar arrangement, but she was with a bi guy, and he took it way more seriously than she did because she was 100% a lesbian, and that caused a lot of drama in their relationship. He loved her,
Oh yeah, that's
and she was
tough.
gay, and then she invited me over, and it was awkward. So
That sucks. That was kind of my experience. Not being out or anything for the longest time. Like when I started dating, I remember having two boyfriends in middle school. One was your typical relationship by proximity. It was just hung out all the time. We were babysat by this family, and the oldest son of this family, all the parents were shipping us really hard. They were, like, talking all the time about how cute we were together and stuff like that. And I absolutely knew by that time I was not interested in dating men, not interested in dating boys. But we just kind of had to. And I felt bad for him because I really think he absolutely adored me. And he did things that, like, in a time like sixth grade, a boy is risking his peer status by being authentic and earnest in regard to dating a girl, right? You're just coming out of that ooh cooties stage of the other one, and your peers are still kind of looking at you for it's incredibly uncool to take things seriously. And he would do the occasional, not constant, but the occasional like romantic gesture. I don't know if it was my birthday or Valentine's Day, but he like saved up his money to buy me a rose And I think I dumped him that day.
Oh.
He borrowed money from his sister. I found out all about this later, and I was like, I am the worst person ever. But I couldn't tell the truth. Like, because there was no good reason not to. That's the way relationships work for straight people. And our listeners who are our age will know that if they're straight. Like, it's proximity. Your choices, your pickings are from the people that aren't your closest relative down the holler.
Yep. Every boyfriend I had, save one. I have one that isn't, but the rest of them are all gay. Not to say that I had a lot of boyfriends, but there were boys that I talked to and stuff. You know, I could really only say one official boyfriend, and he's the one that's not gay. There was a kid that I was really good friends with, and he had like a super crush on me. Like he would write me love letters, and he would call me and sing "Everything I Do It for You" and "Eddie Moore" by
Oh,
Travis
that was
Tritt.
my jam for
Yeah,
years.
yeah, and so, like, he was really sweet. Turns out he's gay,
Mm.
right? And I think that has something to do with me being the most masculine woman they could find and they being the most feminine man I could find, 'cause they were all flaming, like, all of them.
I see this trend of people who are, to me, clearly lesbians. Like, remember we talked about the 4-H lesbian? Choose men who are essentially also lesbians, like big, fluffy, chubby, furry, soft-hearted men that they feel safe around and they have a lot in common with. I see those as tantamount to lavender marriages.
I get that.
I was not very good at acting straight, the whole time, I was in Jellicoe, but I've mentioned before, my mom coaching me on how to act like a girl and how to act like, basically fly under the radar at Williamsburg, and I dated one person. No, that's not true. I dated 2 people, but one of them was a horror show. I dated one person the whole time I was at Williamsburg, and he was sweet, and we're still friends. Um, and we stayed friends even after. My friend group was all guys, and I think I just, assumed let everybody else who saw that assume I was sleeping with all of them, and I just, when we were actually, it was on the way to that Alanis Morissette Tori Amos concert, I told my best friend, Ben, that I was gay.
I had a best friend named Ben.
Yeah. That was the first time I told anybody. And I was like, and it happened very similarly. If you've heard Trixie Mattel's coming out story, it was so eerie to
No.
me that it happened so similarly. But he was driving and we were just talking, and I don't know how it came up, and I just said, "Yeah, I don't really like guys," and he was like, "None of them? Like you just haven't met any?" Or and I was like, "I don't think that I'm ever gonna meet one that I like that way." And he was like, it's like, is it girls for you? And I was like, yeah, I think so. And he was like really quiet. And I was like, oh my God, I just lost my closest friend. And he was like, well, do you like anybody at school? And we like, he immediately switched to treating me like just his bro.
That's awesome. My coming out story to friends, basically, I got them drunk and told them, and they were both like, "Me too."
The
And
Mad Dog
then
2020.
yeah, and then my parents, I came out in the porn shop. My mom was really upset when I came out, and
Mhm.
I guess all of her religious training came out, and she was really upset, and I remember I was living in the dorms when it happened, and she would call me, and that's when long distance was still a thing,
Mhm.
and she would call me, and we would fight, and I'd be
Lord.
crying, and I'd finally get off the phone, and I'd go down to the bathroom and wash my face and come back to my room, and the phone would be ringing again, and it would be mom. And eventually she was like, "Are you happy?" And I was like, "Yes, I am happier than I've been in a long time." And she was like, "Well, that's all I want for you." And that was kinda the end of her fighting me about it. She didn't throw religion at me again after that or anything. She just decided that I was happy and that that was good enough for her.
Mhm.
So, she did come to my wedding, so, I mean, she still had misgivings about it. My mom and dad, because my grandmother, my adopted father's mom, died the day before my wedding, which you couldn't plan for or whatever. I'm still kind of bitter about it though, because my mamaw was the kind of person, her and my papaw had had their funerals paid for since like 1987, you know? So all they had to do was call the county and let them know to come get her, and everything was paid for. Everything was taken care of. They just had to show up at the funeral 3 days later. So
Hmm.
there was really no reason why they couldn't have come, but that's why they said they didn't come. And then my sister said she couldn't get off work even though I gave her 6 months to do it. So it was my one niece, my best friend, and my dad, my biological father, and then Shanna's family, and that was everybody at my wedding.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We spent a total of $600 on our wedding, and that was the venue, the dresses, the rings, the photographer, everything. We had a friend do the photography, and we rented out this. It's an old post office that they've renovated into a like banquet hall.
I remember the pictures you
Yeah.
posted online. They were so cool.
My friend Mike did those, but they rented it to us for an hour and gave us 12 chairs. So we knew it was going to be small, you know. We got our clothes on Amazon. Shanna she got bamboo flowers and hand dyed them herself and made a really beautiful bouquet.
I love like just redneck out weddings, like people that were like, we have $100 a piece. What can we get done with this? And
I got some stories about redneck weddings.
Well, I mean, because the other version of playing it straight is being a redneck, or it's kind of code switching, right? It's being out in the world when you share next to nothing with the people you're with, you're working with, or whatever, representing yourself. I always feel like I represent all of Appalachia or all of Kentucky every time I open my mouth out here.
When I was a wedding photographer, I worked for a studio that was right on the line of Greenup County and Lewis County, Kentucky. But it was on the Lewis County side in a little tiny town called Firebrick. And so we shot a lot of weddings, right? Every weekend during wedding season, we had weddings. And so this one wedding was a July 4th wedding, and they had it in the
Yahoo!
backyard, and it was a double wedding. And so it was a backyard wedding. So they had bales of hay for everybody to sit on. There were rows of bales of hay. And so it was one girl's wedding, and then she got forced to let her cousin also get married on the same day. The second wedding, she was pregnant, like very, very visibly pregnant, like 8 to 9 months pregnant. Yeah, so we get through the pictures or whatever, and so when you're doing a wedding, you do the ceremony, and then immediately after the ceremony, everybody stands around and you do the group photos, right? Like the whole cast of characters that are there, then you get the bride and groom with mom and dad, and then with brother and sister, and you go through all those pictures. In the 5 minutes it took to set the equipment, so you get to light up or get your camera ready or whatever it is, and in the 5 minutes it took us to flip from ceremony over to doing those photos, the mother of the bride had gone in the trailer because again, it was in the backyard. She had gone in the trailer and put on a nightgown with a giant teddy bear on it and a hole. And half of when we were doing the wedding party, half of them were smoking cigarettes and they wouldn't put them out to take the photos. So their wedding pictures will have all kinds of people with cigarettes in them. Like that was the most redneck wedding I've ever been to in my life.
What was the deal with the nightgown and the teddy bear?
She just wanted out of the itchy formal clothes. So everybody else was still in their tuxes and white dress, and she's there in a nightgown.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah, that's what we said too. Lewis County always had interesting folks. I don't know if you've ever been through Lewis County.
I haven't. And is that on the northern side of Eastern
Yeah.
Kentucky? Okay. But I was at one wedding these folks were party animals, these two. And I mean like hard drug party types. Like it was interesting. But the night before, they did the bachelor party, I guess. And one of the groomsmen, he may have been like, what's the head groomsman called? Man of honor?
Best man.
Best
Best
man.
man.
He got real lit up and put on his tux and jumped in the pool. It ruined it, right? I don't know what happens. I don't know what it was made out of, but it had changed its colors from the chlorine. And so the next day was the wedding and he couldn't get the tux. He couldn't wear it at all. The only other thing he had to wear was a pair of pajama pants with Budweiser printed on them. And, and all of these like strung out people, the whole wedding party looked like they had just been, they really lived it up the night before. And it was like at a venue, and I'm putting that in quotation marks because it was just a public park, and we just went and got one of the bench areas there, and they like strung some Christmas lights along a ridge line, like tree line, and then the bride, she had also done like an Amazon dress. She walked up it, and there was this motley looking groom party with this dude in his Budweiser pajama pants. And then we all just ate a bunch of potato salad because that was I guess everybody wanted to show off that. I don't know if there was some war about whose potato salad was better, but I swear there was like one main thing and then 5 potato salad dishes. I will never forget that one.
I went to a weed wedding once, a weed-themed wedding, because I shot probably 250, 300 weddings across my time as a photographer. I've seen a lot. But the weed-themed wedding, like, they just had joints going 24/7
Oh
and,
my
like,
god.
passing them around. Yeah, like, the great parents or the grandparents and the parents and, the wedding party, the guests, they had bowls going around, all kinds it was wild.
I mean, that tracks because especially in the '90s and early 2000s, people who were into weed, like, that was their personality.
Yeah, for sure.
If I were to tell any one of not even the worst or most outlandish stories to any of my normie friends, it's like I'm in that soft white underbelly show, right? Where everyone's like very seriously listening to me as though I'm unloading trauma. And I'm like, that's not what's happening here. This is funny because it's just it's us. This is what we do. I think people still can't really get their head around the fact that our lives are just like that. I'm not sure what one of my friends from like here would do if I just plopped them into any random gathering back home.
Right? Throw them into a pig roast and see what
Yeah.
happens. The first time I ever tried beer was at a pig roast.
Um,
My brother got drunk because that was his job at 14 or whatever, but he
right.
gave me a drink of his beer. He gave me a drink of it, and ugh, it was disgusting.
I
I've
hated it.
never been a beer fan. Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's an acquired taste. It's one of those things that, like, I don't believe anybody actually likes until they try it. But I do miss the taste of it. Like, since giving up drinking and partying and stuff, like, there are times when I'm like, God, like, I'll crave a specific flavor. But yeah, the first one I had, phew.
That's how I am with cigarettes. You never get over it. So, like, I remember one day I was sitting in my car and it was hot and I had the window down and I looked over and the guy was in a big truck next to me and he flipped a cigarette up in his mouth and he lit it and took a big deep breath. And I was like, I could just feel the smoke in my lungs and the release of tension that you get with that first puff. And it's been 10, 12 years now since I quit smoking. So I don't think you ever get over that.
No, it's a
It's
flavor.
drugs.
It's delicious. I was 16 and delivering pizzas the first time I was offered beer and took it. And because I went to a party with some coworkers there, and they gave me a Killian's Irish Red, which is maybe kind of jumping in the deep end when you first try beer. And I about gagged. I was like, "This is disgusting." I was trying to play it cool, like I wasn't just hanging on for dear life, but yeah, I did not finish that thing. And then, 10 years later, that would have been like a delicious drink for me.
Right? I always drank wine coolers because I was that kinda girl.
I did drink those in high school.
I always drank Zima too. Zima was my favorite, and then the Bartles and James strawberry, they were really good.
Because there was a strawberry daiquiri something or other wine cooler that I really liked at this one. I went to a cabin party one time.
Did you ever drink Strawberry Hill, Boone's Farm?
Yes. Yeah, in college, the $2, is a liter. I think it's wine is a liter of Boone's Farm was a big seller.
One time, my parents came to Cincinnati to Oxford to pick me up for, like, Christmas or whatever. I didn't have my car for whatever reason, and, my sister came with them, and because my sister's 6 years older than me, and they had gone Christmas shopping at the mall on their way to pick me up, and when they picked me up, my sister had 2 bottles of Strawberry Farm in the back seat and, challenged me to a chugging contest, which she beat me at so bad, like, so bad, and we sat there in the back of the car and got drunk, and then we drove home, like, that's one of the only I think that's the only time I ever got drunk with my sister, like, ever.
I was thinking about I can't remember who I was talking to. Oh, I was hanging out with some writer friends from Kentucky virtually a few weeks ago, and one of them brought up card games. Like, our family loved games. We would have game night. I remember this going back to, like, when I was a very small kid. As soon as the others were big enough to do anything, we start playing board games, and I don't even remember it being a set, like, on Thursdays, we as a family play, Sorry. we just did it all the time. We would go, hey, let's play some games. And it would be everybody, like, it was a fair suggestion at any given evening. And we would all pretty much be like, hell yeah, let's do it. And as we got older, we got to more complex games and a lot of card games. But we played Rook a lot. Have you ever played Rook?
No, our games were euchre and oh shit.
Rook it's played with a proprietary deck, so it's not a standard deck of cards. There's a version called Setback you can play with a standard deck. So when I went off to college, we would come back home on weekends or something and bring our friends and party at mom and dad's house. And we would play games while we were drinking at mom and dad's house with them. And absolutely, those are some of my favorite memories, especially of like drinking with my family around, because my mom never drank. And my dad, he would have like one or two, but David would like stay for, I guess like hanging out with us was like pre-gaming for him. Like he was really into pills by that time. So he would have drinks with us and play games and then go out and do whatever he got up to. And we wouldn't see him until the next afternoon. But those are some of my favorite memories of just playing Rook with my parents and friends. And Vanessa was there. She just wasn't partying with us. She never was into that stuff like we were.
Yeah. My grandparents used to come over like several nights a week, and they would have massive euchre tournaments, to the point they bought a trophy to pass around.
Nice.
Yeah, it was my grandparents versus my parents, and we had more fun with them playing cards. And then oh shit was a precursor to phase 10. There were 7 rounds, and you had to get a different kind of hand every time you went through. And played with 2 decks. We played epic games of cards. And then after we moved to Lucasville, that kind of changed. I don't remember them ever coming over to play after we moved to Lucasville, which is sad.
Well, and David joined the Army in 2005, and I had dropped out. I think again probably by then. Wasn't coming home as much. So it really it was our whole childhood of games, and then up until like our early 20s, we did that. And me and David were so good at Rook, we weren't allowed to play on the same team. They banned us from playing on the same team because we could communicate without saying anything, and so we were just unbeatable.
Shanna and I play a lot of Yahtzee. We play a lot of Yahtzee.
Yahtzee. I've been playing solitaire lately.
Do you play Wordle still? Have you ever been a Wordle player?
I was actually a really intense Wordle player.
Now you can play the archive.
The archive? Let me see.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
All the games. They have a new game called Pips.
Well, I thought they paywalled it.
Oh, they did. I pay $4 a month to play.
Okay.
But it's $1 a week, and it's totally worth it to me because I like the puzzles so much.
Yeah, I was playing that a lot when I was a recruiter. Just spent a lot of time on my phone in the hotels and Airbnbs and stuff. I was also very intense Words with Friends player. Super competitive.
Yeah, same.
Well, let's hear from this week's sponsor so we can pay the bills. This week's episode is sponsored by Rusted Out 4x4 Trucks. The official vehicles of anyone who's ever said, I can fix that while holding a wrench, saying a prayer, and having absolutely no business getting under that hood. These trucks are autobiographies on oversized wheels. They've got stories written in every dent, every patch of Bondo, love letters from gravel roads, creek crossings, and the time somebody misjudged the distance between the barn and the propane tank. A modified Rusty 4x4 is equal parts engineering and imagination. A lift kit installed by a cousin who failed English and can't get a license but speaks Chevy fluently. Headlights that only come on if you tap the dash twice, crisscross buns, and whisper, please. Tailgate held shut with a bungee cord from a 1997 church rummage sale. When it comes up from the mud puddle for air, the rusty patina sparkles like a fine autumn ombre varnish. Decades of J.B. Weld and Rust-Oleum paint a picture of tenacity and queer-coded swagger. The occasional roar of defiance is audible among the mechanical smoker's cough pulsing under the hood. These rigs are freedom machines. They'll get you to work, to the dollar store, to the top of a ridge where no one judges your outfit choices, and if you're lucky, to the house party down the holler where someone strung up Christmas lights and declared it a nightclub. Every queer kid in the mountains knows the power of a Rusty 4x4. It's camouflage and defiance all at once. You can roll into town unnoticed, but you can also roll right back out when the vibes get weird. It's a getaway car, a pride parade float, and most of all, ornamentation and signification of your toughness and ingenuity. So here's to them trucks that shake when they idle, rattle when they accelerate, and seemingly exercise some old but not forgotten astral entity when you turn on the AC. Here's to the rigs that shouldn't pass inspection, but do anyway because the inspector is that friend your aunt's that comes around every family function for the past 30 years. Here's to the 4x4s that keep going year after questionable year, powered by fresh oil and raw, high-octane spite.
I've known and loved many a 4x4 truck.
Yeah. I noticed that I'm on this medicine for like many of these pain medicines, and I have become a talkative hoe lately. Anytime somebody lets me talk, I just go. I was writing that when I was like, this is like 3 times longer than some of the other sponsors I've done. Oh, well, suck it.
That's just my natural state. My cousin tells a story, because I was like the next to last youngest cousin in my family. So the other cousins often got put in charge of my care at family functions and stuff like that. And I have a cousin who was a big bad Marine, and like I was like 3 and he was like 20, right? So he's that much older than me. And he told me a story because we always kept a pool in the backyard. And he said that I jump in the pool and he comes in after me. He said I was running my mouth when I jumped in the pool, and when he pulled me up, I was still running my mouth when I came out of the pool. He said I never stopped. So I've been like this since birth.
Well, I mean, rednecks in general can spin a yarn. Not everybody is super talkative, but there is always one topic you can get somebody going on and they'll go for days.
Yep. How good are you at making friends with random people?
If I decide to do it, I interact with strangers so easily and can do a lot of I can build a lot of rapport in a very short amount of time. It takes less emotional effort for me to pay very close attention to other people than it might if I had grown up differently. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. You're vigilant.
Yeah, kind of. And I just like people. I don't trust all of them. I don't love all of them, but I'm very interested in how people work and just like learning things about them.
I think you have to have a little bit of that in you to be a good teacher.
I saw a TikTok of a guy. There's a couple of black guys talking, and one of them said, "Why don't I ever hear of white people going to their cousins' houses or hanging out with their cousins or talking about their cousins?" And so lately, my thing has been more about reading comments on TikToks and stuff. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I'm white. I never really hang out with my cousin. All these people are like, I have all these white friends and they never talk about their cousin. And so I was like, you don't know any rednecks then.
Right? That's exactly right.
You're not hanging out with rednecks. The kind of white people you know are the kind that don't need their cousins they don't need close family ties. But my cousins were basically siblings.
Yeah. My mom watched a lot of them. My mom was not a babysitter, but she was a common place for kids to end up.
Yeah.
Especially when they lived in Cleveland and stuff. My cousins that live up there, she was integral in their childhood.
I noticed that when I started working in higher ed and really engaging with more people of color. So all of my education about development was from my own development, which was a fairly white lens. And as I got older, I got a more diverse friend group, and that developmental stage had already been left behind. So when I started working with young people, I was really astonished by the similarities between what the students of color at this particular university I worked at had in common with Appalachia, right? With like white trash, like those commonalities. And I was like, I did not tell them that because that sounds really weird and invalidating. But the more I interact and learn about it and talk to people about it, like when I meet peers and stuff, I'll say like, that is an experience that sounds very similar to this one I had. And, a lot of black folks have told me that they found the same thing, like that white trash have had very similar experiences in their youth that they had. Of course, Southern culture and Black culture are similar, have a lot of similarities for that very glaring, obvious reason of the fact that Southern culture comes from enslaved people.
Right.
Like, there's no getting around that shit. The banjo.
Do you think white people came up with fried chicken?
No.
Or biscuits? Nope. We didn't even come up with ranch dressing. That was invented by a black man.
Did you see that movie Sinners?
No.
I know you're not a scary movie fan, and it is scary. It's a vampire movie, but I did this reading of it for another podcast about basically a post-colonial reading of that film, and there's so much cool stuff in there about like the whitewashing of the Irish, for instance, the banjo and like music. Music is a big theme in that, but also just the coloniality of music. And I just I don't know. I think it's an amazing film. I think I think we left it alone too quickly. There was way more to be said about that movie. I think it needs to be like fucking studied. It needs to be in syllabi. It's genius.
Maybe I'll check it out. You're not the first person to bring up a horror movie or whatever recently, so maybe I need to give it another shot. I just can't do the blood and the gore. Like, I like psychological thrillers. I just don't like, except for the Babadook, I'm not a big fan of monsters.
And it's very difficult because a lot of the most like disruptive and transgressive, interesting and difficult questions are being asked in the horror genre. And if someone finds that difficult, they're kind of excluded from it, But that genre just can hold those things more easily. We're just not doing that in other genres. And Sinners is a bloodbath. If you have problems with blood, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah. My nephew is desperately trying to get me to watch a John Wick film. I forget which one, but one of the John Wick films. And I was like, it's just so violent. Football is too violent for me. Like, it's just a lot. So.
Yeah, John Wick, I really liked those. There's so much fighting in it, a lot of action. It's very choreographed, though. It's also very artistic. So yeah, there's some blood and stuff when they get stabbed and things, and a lot of like painful looking injuries. But the fun of those, I think one of the reasons that stands out in the action, or those movies stand out in the action genre, is because of how beautifully choreographed the fight sequences are. Their art. We could talk about movies a lot. We should review a movie.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like review, like it's like where we watch it and take notes on it, and then we film ourselves talking about it.
I mean, sure.
We can give it a try. If it sucks, we don't have to release it.
Right. Exactly.
What should we review, listeners? Give us some notes. Comment on the YouTube or wherever you're listening, Spotify. Tell us a movie that you would be interested in hearing two cultural studies scholars review. Maybe we'll find a hidden talent we didn't know we had.
Like crossing one eye at a time?
Oh my God.
I could do lots of crazy stuff.
We're gonna have to start filming in video.
I don't know how I could walk around like this all day if I want to. Like,
how did you learn you could do that?
I don't know. I've just always been able to do it.
Will you send me a video of you doing that so I can post the audio with it?
Okay, sure.
Because we can't talk about it and them not see it. They're gonna have to see it now.
People either think it's really funny or they think it's the most disgusting thing they've ever seen. There's really no middle ground there.
We'll give a trigger warning now that it's eyeball. I think I know what you're talking about. Some people find eyeballs upsetting.
Yeah.
I think that's incredible. Do you want to give us a noun of Appalachian interest?
I would love to. I've got a place and a thing this week at the same time.
Lesser known nouns.
Yes. This is also dedicated to Shanna because she's the one that showed me these. I had not heard of them, but after researching them, they're very cool. All right. If you've never been to West Virginia, let me introduce you to one of the state's most dramatic hobbies, the almost heaven swing. Picture this. You hike out onto a cliff expecting a nice overlook, maybe a bench, maybe a sign about local birds. Instead, you find a wooden swing hanging from giant chains, inviting you to sit your whole queer body down and glide over a drop that absolutely does not come with a warning label. Designed, built, and installed by high school students in the state, there are around 50 of these swings scattered across the state now, tucked into parks, perched on overlooks, and randomly appearing in places where you swear someone with a whimsical streak and zero fear of heights said, "You know what this cliff needs? A vibe." They're Instagram famous, TikTok loved, and dangerously close to turning mild risk-taking into a state sport. In short, West Virginia built an Instagram-ready tourism experience that's half nature, half chaos, and fully Appalachian. The Almost Heaven Swing is basically West Virginia saying, look, we've got mountains, rivers, and valleys, but how about we strap a wooden plank to some chains to your ass so that you can dangle off your body on the side of a cliff and call it relaxing? You can find these swings scattered across the state. The view, oh, it's gorgeous. Rolling Appalachian hills, misty valleys, and sunsets that make you consider writing bad poetry. But you'd probably be too busy clenching the chains and hoping your insurance is paid up. The thing about Almost Heaven Swing is that it's pure Appalachian charm. Equal parts beauty, danger, and a little bit hold my sweet tea while I try this. You don't need a ticket, you don't need a safety harness, and you definitely don't need an explanation for why you're taking 42 selfies from exactly the same angle. And let's be honest, the name Almost Heaven is perfect, not because of the view, but because if you lean on it too far back, you might just get there faster than you'd planned. So if you come across one of these swings, go on and try it. Let the wind hit you, take in the view, and enjoy that strange mix of peace. And am I supposed to be doing this? That only a giant cliffside swing can give you. Because that's the thing about West by God, Virginia. It doesn't just give you a landscape, it hands you an adventure and trusts you to figure it out. Take the ride, snap the picture for your Insta, and enjoy the kind of moment you'll be talking about long after your feet are back on solid ground.
Wow. I'm looking at these pictures on the Google. I had no idea.
Yeah, Shanna told me about these. She said she started following when they only had like 25 of them up, and they've got over 50 of them up now.
Oh, there's one over a bridge.
In doing the research, the marketing, like the tourism board came up with the idea, but then they gave it to the high school students, like the technical students that are in carpentry and graphic design and all of that. They used like technical students in high school to design it, to build it, and to install them, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and they're all interesting looking too. They're not just plain old swings. They're carved wood, or then they've got some of them are on perches. I've never heard of it. Somebody tell us if you've done. I want to know, like, which one did you do? Where'd you go? And how did you find the experience?
I know there's at least one in Huntington. I think it's at Rotary Park up there.
Shanna has done one. She's swung on one.
Nope, but she follows a lot of West Virginia tourism stuff because that's where she's from. So she follows a lot of West Virginia pages.
Hi, Blisket. He's like a soft, fluffy cloud. Do you know, apparently he became kind of famous when he first went to the vet, who said that he has the biggest testicles she's ever seen.
Attaboy. That reminds me of the line in the Snoop Dogg song where he says basically he says that women want the biggest balls. And Shannon and I was like, no, they don't. Who told you that? That's incorrect. That's incorrect. I've only got 2 hours and 35 minutes left of my audiobook, and I'm looking forward to being done with it because it's taken forever.
Yeah.
I like it enough. It's just, I don't know. We'll see. I'll be really interested to hear what other people have to say about it. It's not queer enough for me either. That's my biggest complaint. Like the two main characters are somewhat bisexual. They tell you about their bisexual past, says that they had a boyfriend once. And that's pretty much all the queerness that's in it. Okay. So I don't see why it's a queer book club selection when there's that. It's the story of a heterosexual romance for the most part.
Oh, goodness.
And to be like 400 pages, it's just a lot.
Sometimes that's fun, though. I mean, I don't know if people do books this way, but I mean, a bad movie can be as fun as a good one, if not more. So
yeah.
Could still be a lot to get out of it.
The writer spent like 3 pages talking about this guy's coffee cup collection. He could have trimmed that down.
Some I don't know. Writers are obviously in love with words, and I get it. Like the whole "kill your darlings" thing, it's difficult.
Yeah.
See the sponsored ad I just read for this week. I mean, sometimes we just think we love the sound of our own voice too much. I'll tell you what, editing these has cured me of that. Some days I'm like, I hope I never talk again.
That's how I feel about my laugh. Every time I hear it, I'm like, ah.
Oh, I love your laugh. That's why I try to make you do it all the time.
I don't know what I hear. I'm self-conscious about it.
David one time said that I laugh like a dolphin. I've also been told chipmunk that I sound like a chipmunk when I laugh.
My papa always said he could pick me out of a crowd by my laugh.
I think that funny people often have what Trixie Mattel calls challenging laughs. I don't know. I think there's some connective tissue there that science hasn't yet discovered about why funny people also have very weird laughs. Who's your favorite comedian? Do you have one?
Oh, that's a tough decision.
Yeah.
What kind of comedy are we talking about? Because there's a lot of them. If we're talking about like clean comedy, I really like people like John Panette and Mitch Hedberg and Brian Regan, those kinds of people. I'm not a big fan of like blue comedy. I don't If you have to go straight to a dick joke, you're not very funny, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big, like, Sam Kinison fan or anything like that. Andrew Dice Clay, I don't like him. I like Catherine Madigan.
Oh, I just saw her. She's back on the circuit. Kathleen Madigan,
Oh, good. Yeah.
she did a spot on some show. I don't know. There's a joke she made in her 2008 special that of course, I'm not going to remember the name of. But 2008 was that was the saturation point for our smartphones, and she made a joke about the nightly news, and it was her delivery that made me laugh so much. She was like, "There are people out there still watching the nightly news, and why do we still have that? Like, it's at a certain point at the evening, we're all going to sit down, and somebody's going to go, 'Do you know what happened today?'" And she goes, "Yeah, I've got the internet. I know what happened today." And for some reason, that joke has stuck with me. It's not the most sophisticated, it's not a knee slapper, but it's like I like kind of like pithy observational comedy like that can really pinpoint the ridiculous in the quotidian. I love that kind of thing.
You would like Mitch Hedberg then,
Oh, I love Mitch
if you don't
Hedberg.
know him.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
him. Yeah. The frog thing is one of my favorite bits. Like, I wish a little frog would come and sit by me and have it say, "Hey, frog."
He has a whole thing about how we have Smokey the Bear, and in England, they have Smacky the Frog. He has a whole
Yeah.
bit about that. He says, "Smacky the Frog."
Smacky
Yeah,
the frog.
or, yeah, stairs temporarily broken or escalators
Escalator
temporarily
temporarily
broke.
broken.
They talked about having a cavity, and it's where he kept his peas. When I had XM, I kept it on the comedy channels. That was
Mhm.
like my I loved it. I love stand-up comedy.
Eddie Izzard for a while there, had just a direct link to whatever makes me laugh. I don't find her I think she's going by Susie now. Don't find her particularly funny these days, and I'm getting a little tired of her, like, defending transphobes and shit, but still, I will always defend, like, first of all, she's been through it, right? Like, she was visibly transgressively queer in a very hyper masculine field, right? As stand-up comedy, she dressed in what she called at the time, she cross-dressed, and I don't know, I just found her absolutely fearless and hysterical. And the Dress to Kill special, have you seen that one?
Uh-huh, yep.
It's rare to see somebody who can, integrate pantomime into stand-up so effectively.
Right?
One of the quotes she made that I replay in my head was about the Big Bang, and she just said, "The beginning of the universe, there was a Big Bang. We all stood well back." And then she stood there, and then she mimed someone telling her to back up further, and she just said, and backed up some more, and I was like, you're making me laugh hysterically without saying anything, and I love it.
Yeah. I also like Fluffy. When he came to BG, that was really cool. Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah. I liked him in those Magic Mike movies.
Yeah. He talks about that in one of his specials, how he got that part. Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm just more of a fan of not just clean comedy, but you don't have to go blue. Like, you could talk about you could talk about sex. You could talk about a lot of things without going straight to, dick jokes or whatever. There's ways to do it.
Yeah.
I respect that. And there's so much more to talk about in this world than sex, you know? It's a good topic, but there's so much more to talk about. I used to like Ellen before we found out what a horrible human she is.
She had a couple of really good specials, and she was doing hard work at a time when it wasn't very easy or safe to do so. So I will always give people their flowers, their props for that kind of shit. And unless you're someone that pisses me off to the point I can't stand the thought of you anymore, like J.K. Rowling, I will revisit someone's work that I enjoyed from them before I lost interest in them, or I think the arts can stay the art if you still like it, and you don't have to support whatever that person's doing currently. You don't have to give them dollars. You don't have to give them press. I was watching a YouTube video about Dr. Phil and how he's just literally an ICE agent now.
Right.
The world is so strange.
I used to watch a lot of Dr. Phil. I liked the crazy stories that, like, because I'm a people watcher, and I always found it so interesting to people to give their stories and stuff. But yeah, he's gone full crazy, like full psycho. He's jumped the shark for sure.
Right. That's the word for it. Well, maybe we ought to cut this off. Let me let you go so you can finish your book.
Well, don't rush off now.
Yeah. Well, better to try to beat the traffic. Listeners, thanks for listening again. Do all the things. Subscribe if you haven't. If you just keep catching us and you haven't liked or subscribed wherever you listen, do that.
We were the featured podcast on Apple Podcasts the other day.
How did that even? That's so weird to me.
Was it Apple or Spotify?
No, it was
Spotify. I think.
It was Amazon. Amazon.
Well, one of those.
Yeah, I don't. Somebody put a screenshot of it, and I went and looked, and I was like, "Well, good God, don't know what caused that, but that's pretty cool." It's because of somebody listening to us. Is how y'all listening to us and doing the things helped out. And I know I asked y'all to comment something earlier, and I don't remember what it was now because I'm
on what movie we should dissect.
Right? Yeah. Please tell us that because that just sounds fun to me. Anyway.
Look at me remembering shit.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, y'all have a good week. Happy Monday morning to you if you're listening on the day it releases, and we'll see you next time. Say hi to your mom and them.
Bye.